Protesters in Idaho took to the Capitol building in Boise to protest Governor Brad Little's stay-at-home order. And in Washington, Governor Jay Inslee doesn't think the state will be able to reopen when his stay-at-home order expires in early May.
We had a few showers today, but lots of mild weather and sunshine in the forecast.
Good evening. Thanks so much for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Tim Pham. Let's get right to your top stories now at 11. Tonight, Governor Jay Inslee says that models do not suggest that the state will be ready to lift the stay-at-home order on May 4th. The governor explained various models and data the state is using to make decisions about social distancing and the stay-at-home order. Inslee emphasized that Washington is not ready to stop these measures. Inslee also hinted that construction activities might not restart before May 4th or even soon after that, if the curve doesn't significantly turn in the right direction. Well, earlier this week, President Trump spoke about his plan for the states to reopen. He says that it will largely be up to each individual state to, quote, call their own shots and decide when to reopen.
Governors will be empowered to tailor an approach that meets the diverse circumstances of their own states. And if they believe it is time to reopen, we will provide them the freedom and guidance to accomplish that task, and very, very quickly, depending on what they want to do.
The president's plan will leave much of the future planning up to the states, with the expectation that they will develop sufficient testing and tracing systems on their own. Well, Governor Jay Inslee spoke about the state's response and potential next steps the state would need to take in order to reopen its economy. He was adamant about the importance of social distancing, as well as the need to see the number of infected people take a significant decline.
First, our social distancing has to be successful enough that we drive down the number of infected people where we can be confident that we're not going to have the curve start to rebound and go up again because of the number of people who would then be infected.
Inslee also stated his goal of having a, quote, COVID fire brigade, which would allow the state to quickly test people, isolate them, and quickly identify who they have been in contact with. Well, as coronavirus cases continue to increase, many are wondering how they can safely receive medical care. One useful resource is telehealth, which allows people to connect with a healthcare provider at any time through the internet. However, according to a poll from the Kaiser Family Foundation, of the 68% of adults over the age of 65 with internet at home, only 11% have used the service in the past 2 weeks. However, that same poll showed that 38% of adults over the age of 65 are using video chat to communicate with their family and friends. With hospitals under so much stress these days, reaching out to your healthcare provider virtually could be the safest step you can take for yourself and others. Well, debt collectors in Washington cannot touch your stimulus check money. That's according to a new proclamation signed by Governor Inslee. The proclamation suspends statutes that would allow consumer debts to be collected through your bank account and wages. It also prevents post-judgment interest from occurring on consumer debt judgments during the pandemic.
That stimulus check should help to pay for the necessities, food, rent, that type of thing. It should not be garnished to pay for medical bills. That would not be right, and we're thankful here in Washington State that's not happening. But again, folks should contact our office if they have any concerns about garnishment going on in their lives right now.
It is important to know, however, the garnishment rule only applies to consumer debt, which means your stimulus check can be used to pay off other expenses, such as child support. Well, today Boeing announced that it used one of its corporate 737 planes to bring personal protective equipment back from China. The company says the shipment included 540,000 medical-grade face masks that will be delivered to healthcare workers fighting the virus in New Hampshire. Boeing says the company has similar missions planned for the future as the country continues to battle the coronavirus. Well, despite a few showers today, it's been pretty dry for the month of April. Meteorologist Michelle Boss says that trend will continue. Michelle, how much rain have we seen this month anyway?
Haven't seen a lot of rain this month. It's kind of surprising. It doesn't seem like it's been a particularly wet month, but I certainly didn't think it was this dry. As I take a look at how much rain we've seen so far this month in this graphic here, only 1/10 of an inch at the Spokane airport. On average, we would receive about 8/10 of an inch by this time. So we're about 3/4 of an inch below average as far as rainfall. And it looks like that trend will continue. We did see a few sprinkles today, but we got less than 1/100 of an inch at the Spokane airport and not much more at Feltsfield in the Valley or in Coeur d'Alene or even up north in Deer Park. And what we're seeing out there right now, just a few very, very light sprinkles, mainly to the south of Spokane. That area of green that you're seeing around the Spokane area, pretty much just ground clutter. Temperatures warmed into the mid-60s today, but we're sitting at 50 degrees right now in Spokane. Quite a bit colder up in Samplin and Deer Park, temperatures in the upper 30s, but it should stay mild for us overnight. Temperatures staying well above freezing, will likely bottom out around 40 degrees. And then see another nice day tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies, highs in the mid-60s, even warmer on Monday and Tuesday, highs in the upper 60s to near 70. Tim?
All right, Michelle, thank you. Well, new tonight at 11, scraps officers seized 35 dogs and 2 horses from, quote, unacceptable conditions. The property owner is under investigation for animal cruelty and confining animals in an unsafe manner. Scraps officers spent more than 34 hours making sure that every animal was accounted for. Well, now to an update on the Coeur d'Alene fire that destroyed several businesses earlier this year. Many are still rebuilding, and now that the stay-at-home order is in effect, it's presenting new challenges. KREM 2's Brandon Jones spoke with one of those businesses about how they plan to reopen.
As someone who's fairly new to this side of the country, one of the things that I quickly learned about the inland Northwest is that there's no shortage of perseverance stories. Take, for example, Louis Gomez, who owns a business out in Coeur d'Alene. In January, that same business burned down. By the next month, he was prepared for a new grand opening. And then March, we all learned about the coronavirus.
You see your hard work, and then you see burning up in smoke.
As long as I have breath, I'm going to keep trying.
No matter the obstacles that have come up, Louis hasn't wavered a single inch. On the day of the fire, he stood outside of his old building while holding on to confidence that he would be back and better.
I'm going to triumph.
He owns a tailoring business called 720 Haberdashery, and somehow he was able to find a new location on the same street as his old store. He already had it planned.
Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra.
On the first day of spring, he would open the doors of his brand new shop to the general public.
It's giving us that chance to do it proper.
Because his business isn't considered essential, the open date has been pushed back, but for him, it's not all that bad. He's got more time to organize, and the new date to open aligns with his store's name.
All it is right now is just another stepping stone. That's it.
July 20th is when he'll officially be back. When I asked him what he would say to encourage people who feel like they're stuck right now, he kept it simple.
Never give up. That's it. That's the bottom line. Never give up, you know.
From Coeur d'Alene, Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.